Good evening and welcome to Your Call. This week, Parliament's monsoon session ended in a complete washout. What are the implications of this as Coalgate now travels from Parliament to the streets of India? Joining me tonight on this is Sitaram Yechury, Senior Politburo Member and also Head of the Parliamentary Party of the CPIM. Mr. Yechury, thank you so much for coming in tonight. The Prime Minister has said at the end of the session that this is discrediting parliamentary democracy and unwittingly people here are being used by others who want to destroy our institutions. It's not clear whom he meant. He also said that this now means that the government will have to take fast decisions without the benefit of parliamentary debate and has instructed all economic ministries to move forward fast now. What would you say on the Prime Minister's interpretation and the implications of this?
Well, first of all, I think it's a very dangerous interpretation because if you look at it, this session was a washout. And unfortunately, it's a washout, and this is becoming a regular feature. We had a washout last year on the 2G demand, JPC demand on 2G scam, and you have a washout this year on the Coalgate scam. So each scam that comes and the demand that the opposition makes, there's a washout. Now, in this washout, I honestly believe that it's a sort of a match fixing that's happened between the Congress and the BJP, because both had too many skeletons in the cupboard, which were going to tumble out. And neither of them wanted this sort of an exposure. And this interpretation of the Prime Minister has added another dimension, that he actually finds it convenient that this government is no longer going to be accountable to Parliament. So therefore, let's take executive decisions. And calling upon the government to go ahead with these economic decisions without being accountable to the Parliament is a very, very dangerous precedent. And I hope this is not really followed up and we don't really end up sabotaging our own parliamentary system in this manner. And this washout should not be used as an excuse for the government to abdicate its responsibility.
So are we going to now see policy discussions, issues like this out on the streets? Is that our street protest the way forward? Is this an election campaign 2014?
If the BJP wanted this to be an election campaign 2014, it's peaked too soon. It's peaked too fast and too soon, and they will not be able to sustain this. And secondly, any sort of a debate outside the Parliament will not be a structured and informed debate that can lead to certain decisions. It can be at best a good tutu-mame. It may be politically entertaining on the channels for some time, but then beyond that, it's of little consequence. Like you've seen with all of the discussions that happen outside and do not happen inside. So it is necessary to bring this back and all economic measures that the government is likely to take back onto the parliamentary forum.
I think that is a key point. But let me just say, the left is in an interesting position because the government says, oh, the left wants the House to function, so there's a crack in opposition unity. And the BJP says, oh, the left says crony capitalism, so do we. So interesting position where both are claiming common cause with you. Let's hear what Arun Jaitley had to say about crony capitalism.
मैंने एक शब्द प्रयोग किया जो अक्सर वामपंथी करते हैं और मुझे कोई संकोच नहीं था कि ये क्रोनी कैपिटलिज्म था.
Arun Jaitley adopting words that you have often used, Mr. Yechury. You've attacked both coalitions on the economic policies. Yet the fact is, given the current number situation, it will be one of those coalitions which will come back most likely in 2014.
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
I doubt it.
What kind of coalition do you see?
Well, I think it will be a coalition sans the BJP in the Congress. So, in which case we are into a period of certain degree of uncertainty, but I won't call it a regression of Indian democracy. But I think it will be a process of maturation, and we'll go ahead from there.
Because earlier such coalitions have been a disaster.
I know. Earlier such coalitions have never been stable, because such coalitions will always have to depend on either the BJP or the Congress. But I think the time has come where, on the basis of the experience of the earlier coalitions, the choices that the Indian people will make now will give a different sort of a composition, which I think would be more sustainable.
But Sitaram Yechury, first, actually we have somebody, Vikram Mehta, an industrialist, to ask you this question, and we'll come back to this question of economic policy. Go ahead with that question.
The Indian economy is facing a crisis. It's an economic crisis and it's a financial crisis. The financial situation can only be rectified if the government addresses the issue of subsidies. One of the key areas that they will need to focus is on the petroleum subsidies. We all know that the oil companies, the public sector oil companies, have an under-recovery last year of over 140,000 crores. This cannot be sustained. The only way that this can be mitigated is by raising the price of diesel, petrol, LPG and kerosene.
You see, Indian economy is indeed in a crisis, and there's also a financial crisis. But the point is, the solution is not in the question of what is being suggested as cut in subsidies and rise in the prices of fuel. Now you tell me, if you give a tax concession to the worth of 5,28,000 crores in the last year's budget, and you have an unusually high fiscal deficit of 6.9%, which in absolute numbers works out to 5,21,000 crores.
Yes.
Now, your tax concessions are larger than your fiscal deficit.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.